What's up, YouTube? Sean, the average angler, and we've got something special today. Thanks to my fishing trip yesterday, I've come up with some really good information I think will help everybody and maybe avoid the frustrations that I had the first 7 hours of my fishing day. All right, there is bait everywhere in my lake. I mean, everywhere. And let's just say not all bait is created equal. Now, I don't know really what the difference was size-wise or anything like that. What I do know is I fished a lot of bait throughout the day and never got bit. And I found something late in the day that was substantially different, and I caught 8 fish out of it in about 40 minutes. I'm going to share with you what I found. I'm going to try and find a clip on the interwebs, a picture of the graph with what I found, because it's pretty generic, and tell you that this is my new philosophy. I will be going out and graphing, and look, this is nothing new in the industry. There's guys that tell you to do this all the time. For us recreational guys, me mostly, I want to fish. So I don't always want to go out and graph. I might start graphing and then be like, screw this, I want to fish. Because it can take you a little while to find what you need to find. What I can say, though, is the struggles I went through yesterday compared to when I found this spot. I was starting to question if there's any fish in the lake, and then to sit on one spot and catch 8 fish in 40 minutes. Wow, what an eye-opener. Okay, so what I did was I'd found a school of fish. I couldn't see them. They were sucked up to the bottom, hiding in the rocks, whatever they might have been doing, but I couldn't see them. What I saw was a cluster of something on the bottom. Turned out to be rock. Not tall rock, mostly flat, but there was kind of a cluster there. There might have been a piece of wood laying on it. I never felt it fishing it. Mostly felt like rock. Not big rocks, more flatter type stuff. But I combined that with a big school of bait fish in the area. Now the interesting thing is, as I sat there and fished it, the bait was moving. Basically kind of circling around, or it would push out and then it would get pushed back in. I assume by either fish feeding on it or they were trying to come in and eat, and they were coming to the fish. Well, when they'd come in, it would really activate the fish. But I found another key to activate the fish a little later. We're going to get to that. My advice is graph. Idle around, graphing. And the big difference in the bait I found where I caught them, because there was a ton of bait deeper, 40, 50 foot, which is about the depth of the lake. This particular area was 25 foot. And I think that 25 foot range is a little more comfortable for largemouth bass. I've caught fish deeper. By all means, I've caught fish up to 100 feet, spotted bass. But there's something about that 25 foot mark. The other thing is it was also on the side the wind was blowing to. Okay, so a little bit of current may have been created going in that direction, and the water lapping on the shoreline and all that kind of stuff. I found this stuff, and I took my Ned rig with a Zman FattyZ Ned. If you haven't seen those, they're like a 3-inch FattyZ, but it's a Ned bait. Threw it down there and drug it up into this pile of whatever it is. And the very first cast, I got a 3.5 pounder. So I positioned the boat, hit the spot lock, and then made casts around. I do have live scope, and unfortunately when you spot lock, that thing's moving all around. At one point, I saw a couple fish off to the side, switched rods up, threw out the Frenzy Nail Shaky Head with the FattyZ. And we're going to talk more about that because I think that's a really important rig that'll help you out a lot. caught a couple fish really quick doing that, okay? But then the bite slowed down. I couldn't get bit. I fished several different techniques. I caught one also on my brass and glass shaking worm. And that's another one you may want to try sometime. Okay, it works really, really good at times, especially in winter time when these fish are a little slower to react. Sometimes that little rattling is just enough to get their attention, to get them to come over and look and then eat it. But what I ended up doing was I ended up repositioning the boat. I went out around it, went to the other side, got a little further off of it, and commenced to catching, I don't know, 5 more fish off of it in very short order, all coming on that frenzy nail, with that FattyZ and sprayed grass. I'll put a clip in here too of the frenzy nail. It's been in my videos many times, guys. It's an awesome shaky head. What I really like about it is it penetrates really, really well. It's a strong hook, but not overly strong. I was throwing it on my 702 Crusher series spinning rod, so 7'2" medium. And then the Ned rig was on that 731, the real soft rod. And man, I tell you, that Bass Union Ned was just right up through the nose all the way through. That rod's phenomenal. Really, that soft tip, I'm thinking I'm going to get another one, because I'm really, the more I fish with it, the more and more I'm liking it. I woke up at 2:30 this morning, couldn't sleep. All right, so graph around, that's important, okay? And then to get more bites, reposition, change angles, change baits. I caught fish out of this spot on 3 different baits. I tried 5 different baits, got bit on 3 of them. One last key to this, catching more fish on a spot, might be a bigger deal with spotted bass. If you can put the fish in the live well rather than release them right away, because a lot of times that stressed out fish goes back down to the school and it'll just shut them down. I put them in my live well. You'll see the picture, until I had 5 fish, and then I just released the smaller ones. The pictures was 6 because that was the last fish I caught. I weighed the fish and then I was releasing them. Biggest one was a 3.5 pounder. They were all relatively close to 3 or just over. I had about 16 pounds total, all in that 40-minute period. And I had literally gone 7 hours of the day without a bite, without so much as a bite. Fishing the same stuff, fishing a lot of different stuff, trying a lot of different things. Shallow, deep, whatever, you name it. And I tried to spoon them and they weren't having nothing to do with it. So it is what it is. I am going to be preaching about the graphing, okay? Try to intersect with the bait and structure in a depth that you think makes more sense. 25 foot for me makes way more sense than 50 foot on this body of water, when 50 is the deepest water in the lake. Okay, doesn't mean they won't go down there, and I'm sure there's some down there. And maybe the ones that I caught in 25, maybe they were hanging out in that deeper water, but that's where they come up to feed. Whatever it may be. Graph around until you find some of those things. I know when I go back, I'm going to graph around, try to find more of it. Now, I fished a lot of the lake yesterday, and I can tell you there's not a lot of what I found out there. The lake's low, they keep it low, and a lot of the structure that I knew from when I fished it 20 years ago, it's out of the water. You know, I can see why it was good, but it's that stuff that I'm talking about. I mean, I knew where all that stuff was years ago, and now I got to find new stuff because the lake level's so low. Your graph is your friend, folks. You don't have to have forward-facing sonar. It helps. Like I said, I didn't see the fish. That one fish I caught, I saw him. Pitched out to him and he ate it. But you don't have to have it. It helps you scan if you're on the trolling motor a little faster than graphing. But I will graph. I'll idle on the graph And now I'm just going to follow around that 25-foot mark and see if that's the magic depth. Is that what I'm looking for? So it could be something in 20, could be something in 28, but I'm going to start scanning around in that general depth zone and see where we go from there, because it was a hell of a lot funner catching them than all the times I was frustrated and thinking about leaving. And I didn't, because I'm like, I have got to figure something out. I'm not leaving and going home skunked. It's been a long time since I fished today and have not caught fish. I didn't want that to be the first one. All right. Sean the Average Angler, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe if you like this kind of content. We'll see you on the next one.